For this 100% rye bread, we're gonna start by building our levain. The levain has a fairly high hydration, and we're gonna allow this to ferment for about 12 to 15 hours. So to start, we're gonna take our healthy rye starter. Wow, look at that. A healthy sourdough starter is the backbone of this recipe and really crucial. So when I take this out, we're gonna look at how airy it is inside. So we're gonna put 200 grams of ripe sourdough starter in here, followed by 400 grams of water and 300 grams of freshly milled rye flour. Mix this up, and then we're gonna let it sit overnight for 12 to 15 hours.
Wake up!
12 hours later, our levain is gonna look something like this. So this is our build for our rye. It's loose, it's got lots of bubbles, it smells wonderful, and it's time to mix our rye bread. I've got my salt weighed out and my flour. I'm gonna put the salt on top, mix this up a little bit, and we're gonna place this on top of our build. Next, we're gonna pour boiling water on top and mix it up really well. So you can see this is boiling water, it's steaming, it's hot. We're gonna put 300 grams. We're gonna pour the boiling water on here. I know everyone's gonna freak out right now. And we're gonna mix this up. So the key is the flour is gonna act as a buffer and protect our starter from that boiling water. And as you mix this together, the temperature of the dough is going to come down dramatically, and we're gonna have a really fast final ferment. Rise is really great with a good oven spring, and it's gonna be a tasty loaf of bread. So I'm gonna take the temperature. It is about 36 degrees Celsius, which is perfect. And the next stage is to weigh this into our tins. So these are 7 by 4 inch rye tins. You can see the sides are slightly sloped, and these come from Campbell Rackmaster in the UK. Great pans. And I'm gonna put 800 grams per tin. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a slightly wet scraper to smooth and shape the top of the dough. So I'm gonna put the scraper in water, and I'm going to gently just smooth out the top of this so that we have a nice looking loaf. Any extra water, I like to let it drip off. You have to be quick because the bread's moving, so drip that off. And then you can see now I've got a nice smooth loaf. And on top of it, we're gonna dust this with a bit of flour, and the flour is gonna help us monitor the rise and let us know when it's time to bake. Now that we've got our bread in our tins, we're gonna cover it with a towel. We're gonna set a timer for 50 minutes. Gonna turn my oven on to preheat, and in 50 minutes, we'll take a look before we bake it. It's gonna start to rise, it's gonna crack a little bit on top, and when we see little pinholes, we're looking for about 6 to 8 pinholes before it's ready to bake. So before it goes in the oven, we'll take a look at it. Our breads are ready to bake, and we're gonna put them in the oven with steam. We're gonna bake them at 440 Fahrenheit for 25 minutes with steam and another 25 without. We can also take the internal temperature, try to hit 204 to 206 Fahrenheit to ensure that our bread is done. What I look for is that it's risen significantly, it's started to crack, and we can see those little pinholes in the top. Now let's go put it in the oven. Okay, so after 50 minutes of baking, our bread is done. The internal temperature is 206 Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna pop them out of the molds. Now, we wanna take them out of the molds right away, because if not, they're gonna steam a little bit and get kind of soft. The tins are hot, so be careful, and they should slide right out. If your pans aren't non-stick like mine, you can wipe them out with butter or oil before you put the dough into it. You can see how beautiful these look. They're nice and risen, and they feel just excellent. Look at that. And you really want to give this bread about 8 hours before you slice into it. The crumb is very wet. It's a very high hydration dough. There's not a lot of strength in rye, and it's gonna be a really wet crumb, kind of gummy. So if we don't wait, it gets really wet. The other thing is, as it's cooling, it's still cooking and still setting the gelatinized crumb inside. So I'm gonna leave these on a cooling rack to cool. This 100% rye bread is a favorite in my house, and I hope it becomes a favorite in yours. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It helps me grow and other users find me. Happy baking, and I'll see you all in the next video.